Welcome to Shah's IAS Institute, taking a look at editorials and question bank for 14th October 2016. The first editorial in the Hindu newspaper, Triumph of the Troubadour. This is regarding the Nobel Prize for Literature being awarded to Bob Dylan, who is a US singer and songwriter. So this has been a surprise for many. He is extremely famous, his songs been there for more than 50 decades now and still winning over fans. But then a singer, a rap singer, a pop singer being given an award had shocked many too, and many have welcomed it as well. So Nobel Prize for Literature has given such shockers. Even last year's Nobel Prize was given to a former Belarusian journalist, means former Soviet region's journalist, who brought out oral traditions about histories about people living during the times of Soviet Union. So she had extensively brought out histories of these people and she had put forth a non-fictional work. So she was awarded for that work. There has also been the case of UK Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who was given Nobel Prize for Literature for his war speeches. So such have been the cases. Even a philosopher here spoken of, Bertrand Russell, was given the Nobel Prize for Literature for his philosophies. And later after the award he brought out a book as well. So that is the case. But yeah, his songs actually have been philosophical. The writings have spoken about peace, war. He was also a civil rights activist in US. He has spoken about love, closure. So a philosophical aspect is also seen in many of his songs. So of course, many have called it well deserving too. Anyway, this is not anyway important for civil services. We don't expect any question from this, but yeah, for your knowledge, it's good. And even a factual point that Nobel Prize for Literature goes to Bob Dylan. After that, the next editorial is of politics and administration. So this is about new districts being set up in Telangana, the newly formed state in India. Now, in Telangana, the Chief Minister in 2014 had said that he would set up 14 new districts. That was the poll promise. But now, because of popular demand in politics, the number of districts have been increased. They were increased to 17 and now they have been increased to 21 also. So this has all been because of popular agitations too and the demands which the Chief Minister Chandrasekhar Rao has given into. So now again, it says that Telangana was also set up on the basis of this principle that smaller a region and administrative setup, better the governance and administration. So that's how Telangana was formed. Now within Telangana, two districts are being formed on the same principle. But then there is a cost benefit analysis which is required because every new district being formed will result in a new administrative machinery and setup, which will also be a cost which will be incurred. So how much cost will be incurred and benefit in the sense of bringing in governance closer to the people is of course the benefit. How does that work? That calculation needs to be done. So, and another thing is, of course, bottom-up approach is important, but just forming new districts will not be sufficient. There needs to be people's participation in governance and administration too. So, how effective that aspect is will decide whether this principle or this plan will work or not of setting up more districts. So that has been the case. It says that the costs incurred will be creation of additional administrative infrastructure, transfer of personnel, replication of paperwork. Presently, each district has been given 1 crore rupees, but of course that will not be sufficient. So that is the case. So it ends with this only, that increasing bureaucratic work at the village level will not automatically lead to better governance outcomes. Using this opportunity to involve local communities in all decision making on the development roadmap in these areas will ensure that. So that's how it should be done. Next, taking a look at the question bank. So the other three articles in the Hindu newspaper today, one has been on left and Dalits coming together politically for putting forth their demands. Another one has been on Lodha committee. And the third one has been an interview with Sheikh Hasina. So amongst these three articles, the interview does not have much content or substance for any answers for our questions in mains. The Lodha committee has been talked of and spoken of so often, so it will again be a repetition. And there's nothing new in that too. The case is still going on. We have all discussed all those aspects in previous videos. And the third one, which is about the again Dalit and left coming together, of course it's a politically written article, which again for civil services will not be relevant. However, we have framed a question on the reservation aspect which it covers, and the question is, demands for reservation have been emanating from diverse sections in India in recent times. How effective is reservation in today's liberalized and globalized world? What are the measures can address the underlying demands? So this is the question. Underlying demands means reservation is the demand put forth, but underlying it there are other aspects which need to be tackled. So how to address them? So coming ahead, what is discussed is demands for reservation. In different parts of the country, the dominant agricultural castes have begun to mobilize not just against the upper caste but the Dalits also. So this we see presently to cow vigilance also targeting Dalits and Muslims, both of them, and we have seen even reservation demands being made by various agricultural castes like Gujars in Rajasthan, Jats in Haryana, Patels in Gujarat, Marathas in Maharashtra, even Muslims in Maharashtra have joined in now. So these demands for reservation are also there, plus even this Maratha demands was that dilution of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes prevention of atrocities act. So this has been another demand. So this shows the rift between the lower castes and the dominant castes asking for reservation. So how to tackle this is the question. But another aspect which the question also puts forth and the article spoke of was liberalization, privatization and globalization's effect on reservation. So when liberalization and privatization would take place, reservation cannot be completely brought in, especially in the employment section, because employment reservation is there for public employments, means in government sector. So when a lot of privatization takes place, government cannot ensure reservation in private sector jobs. So that is one aspect, and the second aspect is about globalization. When people go abroad for work, then they cannot ask for reservation there. So reservation basically is required in the initial stages and in education only. Beyond that, it cannot be effectively put forth in the present globalized era. Then the another thing which it speaks of is, so the Dalit demands in Gujarat have been fulfilled also in some cases, like after the Una incident in which a Dalit youth was assaulted by cow vigilance. Then the demands and protests came up, and after that even land distribution take place. So government land was distributed amongst landless laborers in that area. Plus also the Safai Karmchari's demands which they made from Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation were also heard and adhered to. So the demands were accepted. So such protests also given to the demands. But the article also says, and if you see, then these demands which have been put forth are about materialistic terms, in economic terms. So they are the economic demands. The problem basically is economic, not just the caste. So the measures which can help in annihilation of this reservation policy, ending this reservation policy, is excluding the caste aspect from it after now decades of independence. So what is required is first and foremost is targeting education. So if education is available to all, right to education is a fundamental right now. So if the government fulfills this responsibility effectively, then if everybody gets the opportunity to get educated or develop a skill as the child prefers, then it will ensure that everybody has skills and can be employed. So this is the foremost stone which needs to be put forth to have our economy built, excluding reservation. So this is one aspect. Second is, of course, another aspect we see is the poor families suffer because of huge expenditure on health. So if the public health system becomes strong and effective, that can be taken care of. Third is increasing the job availability, because that's what they demand. Their demands are majorly if they have decent jobs and that pay well, then they would not be making demands for reservation. So making job availability possible, even Skill India program, Make in India program, increasing the manufacturing sector in India, the PM's flagship programs are targeting these only. And next is about phasing out reservation, because there is a need to phase out. It cannot be incremented. More reservation cannot be given, rather reservations should be eliminated slowly. It cannot be done in one step. So excluding the creamy layer has been excluded presently in the OBC section. So there have been demands like even in SC/ST, the creamy layer, which is decided based on your privileges which you already have acquired, which may be in terms of income or in terms of decent posts. So such people should be excluded from reservation now. And finally, of course, a case is also made for income based reservation, that income rather than caste should be the basis for reservation, because if caste is the basis for reservation, then reservation will never end because caste stays with you always. But if it is income based reservation, then based on how much you earn, you will be given reservation. So maybe next time when the reservation policy is to be decided and beneficiaries are to be decided, a new set of people would come in who are not well off, and those who have become well off now will be excluded. So that is how gradually reservation policy will result in ending this reservation, because this set of beneficiaries will keep on reducing gradually and eventually it will extinguish. So that is the ideal scenario. So that is where the government should work for. So it ends with this only, that scheduled tribes would have been excluded. And in this, another plus point is that if this is the case, that income based reservation is given, then all scheduled castes and scheduled tribes will be part of it. So all those scheduled castes and scheduled tribes who actually reserve the reservation, means the majority of them are not well off, will of course be included. There is no question of exclusion in that, even in terms of income. So that is how it should happen. Beneficiaries, it says, would change in such a scenario every generation. So that is how we go ahead. And also it makes a case for giving reservations in primary education, not in secondary and tertiary education. That should be the place where reservations should be provided, and rather than reservations, it should provide free education, compulsory education to all as the fundamental right mandates. So that is how then only the bitterness of caste divisions will end, and even the politics of caste will end. So that is how the reservation policy can end. So that is it for today. Thank you.